A very good Sunday afternoon, my people. And last week we did a mindfulness garden walk. And I think we all had fun with that. And today I will show you a couple photos of the garden just for the people who couldn't really make it last week. Let's start with our part 1. Breathing exercise. This exercise is based on Taoist longevity exercise. It's called Zheng actually. So then it's really good for, or it's really try to balance your immune system, right? Your knee bend naturally. Relax your arms up as you are hugging a tree. Close your eyes. We'll breathe in from our nose and all those little meridian lines, and breathe out from our mouth and all those little meridian points. Now we'll start our part 2, our 10 energy movements. We'll do 5 each movement. Now, the next movement. Now, next movement. Next movement. Now our liver. Pop, 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 the last two movements. Now, our last movement. Okay, now let's all get a little water. Smell that. So today we will just do a little bit of kind of refresh course that suggested by many of you are professors, teachers, and says Dr. Lu, we only do this teaching once a month, and so you gotta periodically review of those movements a little bit with us. So let's do that today. This, call it 八段锦, 8 movements. We put 2 more toward the end of the exercise just to stretch your tendon a little bit, right? That is the 2 longevity movements, but originally there's 8 movements. So these movements are really, this really has a lot to do with your fascia system. If you balance your fascia system, then you will help with the energy flow throughout the body. Your lymph will be cleaned up, your body fluid will move smoothly, your energy will move smoothly as well. So this is, this energy movement is designed for all audience. You don't have to practice a lot of Kung Fu, those hard martial art, to be able to master it. This is really just for good health, for longevity. So that's been said, you see the first movement, right? The first movement, you have yin and yang, we call yin yang jiaohui, yin and yang together, and then you slowly bring your arms up. And when you stop here, So you are opening up the yang meridian lines. You are cleansing the yin meridian lines. And also you are strengthening. This is the whole fascia. Fascia has, we call that sanjiao. Sanjiao, this is upper jiao. Upper jiao is for your lungs and your heart. Middle jiao is for your liver system, your stomach, your spleen, your lower jiao, that is the whole reproductive organ systems. And just by balancing, by doing that, you are opening this up, right? When you do this, you are cleaning up your lymph system, right? And you are your mother lymph, lymph 1, lymph 2, and lymph 3. So the lymph 3, when you try to stand up so high, right? And then when you do that, that is really for the sanjiao. And also you begin to waken up your du meridian line, right? The du, you can go and see what Lele wants. Our Lele is our queen of the house. She's that little three-legged cat. If she wants something, you have to attend right away. I am sending my people there to see what she wants. So the second movement is really to clean up, you see, and by doing this movement, and we are strengthening the upper jiao and also your lungs and your heart, right? And then remember I said this is this is a very important meridian line points, right? So that should be always protected. And people who know Gong Fu, they never let you touch that because that can cause a lot of harm. Yeah. So you see, you are really working to balance that upper jiao and also the 6 arm meridian lines, right? So that is the second movement. That's what you're doing. Now, after we balance, open up the 3 jiao, we work on the upper jiao, your lungs and your heart system, right? And then after that, we're going to what? The middle jiao, right? The whole gut system. Remember, the gut system is from the moment you chew to the moment you poop, right? So by doing that, you are again opening up your yang meridian line, clean up your yin meridian line, right? One up, one down, and then switch it in the middle. But we are opening up 两斜. In traditional Chinese medicine, this part is very important. We call that 斜. Come on, Lele. There we go. Lele want to be a part of teaching today. That's why you are meowing all the time, yeah? Until we say, yes, Lele can be a part of it. There we go. Are you happy now, Lele? Ah, there we go. Now we have to make Lele happy. Otherwise, the world is going to end. So now, Lele, can we focus on me now? Thank you. So, yeah, we will focus on you very soon. You see, this 两斜 is important. After you open up this line and you're going toward this one right here. So you see, you say, well, we're working on our middle jiao, right? The triple burner, the second burner. How comes we're opening up 两斜? Because unless your liver is not stagnant, your gallbladder is not stagnant, unless you have smooth flow of your lymph, your gut won't be good, right? So that's why you really have to, when you do this movement, you try to stretch as far as you can, right? So that is so important. And the next movement, so what I want you to learn and do is that, remember we said Lao, right? What the 5 things you need to watch and have balance, not to be out of balance. So Lao Qi Sheng, that's a reminder, right? And now we begin to really work on our dual meridian line. That's our spine. And then our gallbladder line is 2 cun. This is 1 cun. This is 2 cun, 1 cun, 2 cun, 2 cun away from your spine, right? Those meridian lines are very important. We begin to open them up. And then also, if you have a lot of people carry a lot of stress on their shoulders, and then you see, raise yourself up, relax your shoulders. So that really is, this movement is so important to focus on the dual meridian line. That's your spine line, right? And also remember that 5, not too much, right? Don't. One thing we want to remind people is make sure you don't watch your phone or watch your TV or your computer too long. Every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, make sure you stand up, you walk around, make sure you look outside, look at the nature a little bit. So, so that's, and today we're going to teach you the 5th movement. You can, but this movement requires some strength and some flexibility. And then the lay version, the step 1 version of doing that is fine, because the whole point is your yao tou, we say, that is really strengthening your head, and bai wei, your tailbone, and that will balance, that will create a balance between your heart and your kidney system. So by doing that, the ideal way, or the step 2 way of doing that, is you have, we call that horse stand and greater than horse stand, right? So again, if it's too much for you, if you want to just kind of do a little bit and do as much as you can, okay? So, and then before, what we teach people really is, we teach you just to do it very gently like this, right? But now, if you can do it with me, then do it with me. So you turn to one side of your body, stretch your head out that way, and your tailbone the other direction, right? Turn to the other side. Ideally, you can still look at your tailbone, and then you turn, you look down, and your head up. Okay. So we get a point of how to do this movement. And again, if it's too much, you can do the step 1 version. So the reason we do it this way is we call that yao tou, is the head, right? Look down direction. There we go. And then you turn up. So you make that turn, right? And then if you look at behind, look at my tailbone, I turn like this direction. My head is on this direction, right? And my tailbone is on the other direction. And I turn. So my head now is on this side, my tailbone on that side. So and what are we trying to exercise? What are we trying to do? Is that there is, so we say yao tou bai wei. You really work on the whole spine and focus on certain points of the spine. So this is Mingmen. This is Mingmen right here. Mingmen is a very important point because if you draw a line here and then you draw, there's a golden triangle. Start at Mingmen and go down, and you have Balio, 8 points. That together, we call that golden triangle. Golden triangle is important for man and woman to balance that, because let's say this is where the vital energy, this is the house of your vital energy. This is, and if people, let's say, if people want to get pregnant, if people have low sperm count, if people have intestinal problems or not enough energy or not sleep well, first we do is we balance their golden triangle, right? And this is the part when you put your, think about the dog, right? Think about, or a dog. What they do is when they look at you, they are so, like me, you know, when they are happy, what they're doing, right? They are moving their tails when they're happy, right? When they move their tails, they are moving their spine. They're strengthening their spine, which is then in turn, they are strengthening their immune system. That's why if you see a happy dog, right? It's like a happy person, right? A happy person, we don't wag our tails, but what I would suggest you do is you need to wag your balio, the tailbone, because this part is so important. It's so important. So next time when you see me, instead of, we can still bow, but also wag your tails. So this part, you know, this is, we call that Wei is the tailbone part. There's 8 important points. And then this is Mingmen. This makes a golden triangle. So in our clinic, we begin to really work with people on strengthening their immune systems. We have a lot of people now that they have a challenge of getting pregnant. So that is a part of the treatment we do for them. So that, but we say, this is supposed to balance the heart point, right? How comes you are doing my kidneys? Because when the kidneys is strengthened, then the energy is up, then we're helping to manage the second part of this movement is the head. You know, remember the tailbone on one side and the head on the other. So the head is important. You strengthen the whole spine, but this is here has a very important point. It's the point we call Da Zhui. Da Zhui is one of the main intersections of your body. All the yang meridian lines going through that is one of very, very important intersection points. So that point should always be covered. even in summertime, because you do not want, we call that wind or cold get into your diaphragm. If the wind and cold get into your diaphragm, that will cause stagnation, and stagnation will lead to inflammation, and that will lead to pain. So now we know we are balancing, exercising this part, the whole spine, and then the diaphragm, and then the other part is Bai Hui. Bai Hui is where the whole energy is another very important energy intersection points, right? It's right on the top of your head. So now we know why we're doing this. And then the other thing is that by this simple movements, one of the things is to strengthen, really strengthen and balance your Mingmen. Mingmen is where the vital energy stays, the kidney system. That when people have fear, that partially is that your kidney system is weaker, right? Because if your kidney system is out of balance, then people tend to have fear. And then the other is just people are trying to scare you for whatever the reason. And but every time you feel fear will lead to anxiety. Every time you feel that you're harming your immune system, because every time when you have fear, then you create more stagnation. So in our clinic, we keep saying you got to reduce your stagnation, right? You got to reduce your stagnation. And that's really why is that every time you have fear, that out of balance, then you create more stagnation, and then that will lower your immune system. And then as we know, have a balanced immune system is that important, right? And then the other thing is that since we're just kind of chatting, so a lot of people try to understand what is going on in my head, but good luck with that. But I think that why it's important, traditional Chinese medicine, you must have a tradition. You must have generations of knowledge and wisdom and treatment. And really that part is so important, because and then you will try to understand the depths of the imbalances. So one of the things that my observation is that let's say, I'll give you an example. So why you have, we call that the heart fire goes up, right? Fire is in Western language can be translated into inflammation. So then when people said, oh, I have inflammation, I got to reduce inflammation, then what we do is that you create the treatment only. Let's say if you have, your stomach has fire, right? You say, oh, you know why I have bad breath, right? Besides you need to have a dental cleaning, a lot of times it's from, we call the stomach fire. But what caused stomach fire? Stomach fire, the fire is supposed to live in your stomach in harmony with other elements. When it's being pushed out, that is because there is too much coldness in it. There's too much coldness, too much those dampness that push the stomach fire out. So when you come and to say, I have bad breath, then what we do is we give you herbs that will help you to balance that quickly. But at the same time, we are working on, instead of saying, I have too much heat already, why are you still warming me up? I'm warming you up to get the coldness out of your stomach. Until that happens, then the fire supposed to live in your stomach, help with the digestion. So because you have too much coldness, that push it out. So what will lead to that? A lot of factors, but one thing is during this time, and you have, we don't want you to eat anything cold. We want you to drink warm water. We want you to eat cooked food, because then it's easy for your stomach. It's not creating more coldness, right? We are balancing that. That really is part of the logic behind why we do certain things we do. It's not just, oh, wow, I have fire, let's just get the fire out, but rather we create more heat to bring down the coldness. Then therefore, the true fire, not the fake fire, will go back to where it should be. And you have, sometimes we call cold kidney, it's the similar things. Sometimes we call, weihan is coldness in your stomach because the fire is out. So that's why. So that's been said is that there's no very simple answer to say, oh, I have this, why are you treating the whole system instead of just targeting the symptoms, right? Because we're balancing the whole system to get rid of the roots of the problem. So, so another concept I try to, because a lot of times people ask me, what is good? What is bad, right? What are you trying to do? You're trying to make me good. No, I'm not trying to make you good or bad or righteous or evil or this. I don't really have that concept. The concept in traditional Chinese medicine, in Buddhist healing, is 4 words we call 扶正祛邪. Is we get the zheng is what is supposed to be the energy and all these elements. We get it smoothly run, and then we try to, that's what zheng and xie means. A lot of people, a lot of translation in Western medicine, they translate, we create good against evil. That had nothing to do with it. Zheng just means that if the energy going through your body is the correct time, right? The correct place, the correct meridian lines are not stopped, do not have inflammation, smoothly through that. That's what we call 正气. That's what we're trying to create. What is 邪气? 邪气 is not evil. It's not devil. It's not, is 邪气 is rather you have the energy going through not the correct time, not the correct place, not the correct meridian lines. Then you, and the other important thing is that every single cells, every single energy in those lines, those energy, they have a time for their birth, growth, and then death, right? Those cells, they comes and goes. This is called zheng. If you have xie, is those cells, those energy, they do not have the flow. They refuse to die. They're not supposed to be there, but they are there. They're not supposed to be there when it's supposed to have yang energy going through, but you have yin energy going through. That's the incorrect channel. So that's it. So our job is to help your body, because your body already know how to do this type of flow. So our job is to help you to balance that. Once you have that, then you have that harmony, then you have what is called 正气, what is called 邪气. So I will stop here. I know these concepts sometimes is hard to understand. I will let you ask questions, and we also have some photos for some of you who didn't get to come and see my garden. I'll show you a little bit of my garden. If that's what you prefer, just tell me, what do you prefer? What do you want?
Dr. Liu, if it's okay with you, I would like to have just a couple of questions before we share some of the lovely photos that we have.
Okay.
I would like to talk about this concept of being or sort of having a susceptibility to the elements. So you talked about how wind or cold can penetrate the Da Jue, that area right at the base of the neck. Could you talk a little bit about that?
So there are very important intersection points that need to be protected, right? So Da Jue is one of those points. So Da Jue, the point of Da Jue really desire to have balance given, right? It's not, and also like a little bit of warmth, not coldness. So to help you to protect that part, then you should really, when you sleep, you should make sure that the outside wind does not flow directly flow into your Da Jue point. That just have to be, close your window, do not leave your fans on, and try not to, in summertime, have very low temperature, and all these can create coldness in Da Jue and other very important intersection points. So we just need to keep it warm. Long story short, keep it warm.
Does that apply to the low back area as well that you described, the golden triangle?
Mingmen, yes, and Mingmen and Baliao, that's where we should always protect as well. And then the other, of course, is Dantian. Right now, Dantian is to find your belly button and 3 cun below your belly button, and that's the point of Dantian. That's a very important point. That should always keep it warm. You see, in summertime, we see a lot of, especially young people, they have all their important points exposed, right? They have this part exposed that their shirt is too short to not cover this, and then they have a lot of later on they are easily to develop menstrual cycle pain, disturbance, and not easy to get pregnant, and mood swing, and all other imbalances related to their reproductive organ system. Yeah.
This idea of having a sensitivity to the, I don't want to say sensitivity, that's not the right word, but sort of having that vulnerability to the environment is very unique to traditional Chinese medicine.
Yes, yes. So again, that is the word of Zheng, right? Let me write that. That is what we try to create, right? Is Zheng Qi, is the energy, Zheng Qi, what you're supposed to. And this is a very interesting story too. If we have time, if we don't have time, we'll go through this next time. It's a quite interesting story. It's a lot to do with what my teachers said to me, 3 words of teaching, why it's important. So, but this Zheng Qi is what we try to help people to balance that. It's just the correct time, correct energy, going through the correct channel, do not have stagnation, and very smooth and very stable. So that's called Zheng, and what it's supposed to be.
Dr. Liu, we'd love to hear the story if you have a few minutes.
Okay. So the first word is, we call that shang. Shang means learning, growing, and going up. So when I was a young man, my mentors, those monks and those teachers, the family teachers, because we're in medicine for many years. So the teacher said to me, this is earth, right? This is Earth. And that brings another interesting concept is that if the Earth is unwell, we cannot be well. If the soil is depleted, our gut will be depleted with it. But that's another topic for another day. But this is Earth, and this is you, right? We are your teachers. We help you. Sometimes we encourage you. Sometimes we trim you. Sometimes we use all kinds of methods to make you grow, right? So this is called shang. Shang is you grow up, you learn, you grow up. So this is their job, right? This is, I'm here to teach you as your teacher and to make sure you have the solid elements. And then our job is to help you to grow. So the second one, this is the second word. You see, this part does not change. This is still the solid earth. This is me, I'm growing now. And this is, instead of my teacher, this is life. This is my teacher. My teacher has stopped teaching me. So there will be a point, if you're a parent, you're a teacher, you are teaching someone, there's a point you train them, you nourish them, you help them, you do whatever you can to help them to grow. But there is also a time that you will stop doing that. You will be the observer, because life will teach us. Life will make us grow. Life, our experience, that will teach us. And that will trim us, right? So we can be each other's teacher. But my teachers, but here, when they teach me, this is when I grow, I have traditions grow into me, right? So I am a part of that piece. So once, now my teachers, they're here to watch me. They're here to just be the observant. And this is me, this is life is trimming me. But their goal, what is their goal? Their goal is to create this. Then I know boundaries, right? I know what it means to be tolerant, not just me, right? Students. And I have some stability because Earth is, nature is stable. And I know what to learn from life. I know I have a tradition. I have teachers and I have spirits that they're watching over me. And I know I shouldn't be, I should always try to be the correct place, doing the things that I'm called to do, and do not overstep that correctness. And that is Zheng, is the Zheng qi we try to create. That's what we've been talking about, right? And they have Fu Zheng, they have nurtured me to have that balance, to have that harmony, and hopefully then I will have enough wisdom, knowledge, and sense to not be xie, not to be full out of it. So that really is, my teacher said to me, that really is what they have been doing with me. And I'm hoping that parents, if you have kids or you are a teacher or you nurture someone, and this will be something that you feel useful.
Dr. Lu, that's so lovely. I love that it starts from the earth up. That's just so incredibly profound, really beautiful. I'll share some photos of the garden.
All right.
Okay.
And you can ask questions while you are just kind of looking some of the things, and because we want to kind of, as the other thing is that I think modern society, we have forgotten to be a part of something, right? Then we become isolated. So this is just one of my roadies are really blooming. And this is just one of my old girls that this one is 50 years old and still going strong, and they're just beautiful. And meanwhile, if whoever has questions, then I can. This is very rare. And I bet you don't really see this kind of rhodies elsewhere. I heard in Ann Arbor there's only 2. I have 1 in my garden. Yeah, this is my pine trees, and they're doing so well this year. And the tip of that, and you can eat that. And if you have inflammation, and let's say you can just pick a couple of that and rinse in your mouth or put in your mouth. That really helps. You better check with me before you just pick something and put in your mouth. Yeah, this is a part of the garden we're trying to create. If you look behind, this is the front entrance, and then we have, I'm trying to create a edible border. Yeah, this is just some of my really blooming rhodies, and they're just so beautiful and happy together.
Dr. Liu, as I'm loading the photos, maybe you can share with some of the participants that were not there for the class about the 5 principles for the garden that you talked about with us earlier.
So this is a any kind of we're big in gardens, right? So any kind of monastery have the similar principles, right? We have 5 words. We have the first word is, we call that yuan. Yuan means boundary. Boundary always comes with rules and discipline. And that is the first part you set up. You said, this is the garden I am envisioning how to create, how to bring the element out of the earth, right? So the first word is yuan. Yuan means a circle. Yuan also means boundary. After you have that, the second is, we call that rong. Rong is tolerance. And then you can see there's different elements, different things in my garden. A lot of big oak trees and pine trees and annual flowers and rhododendrons and perennials and a lot of native plants. They all find a place in the garden. That's what we call room. Room is tolerance. We must have that tolerance to each other, because the diversity makes this garden a whole, right? Tong is that then you create such a energy, then there's no stagnation. That means tong is without stagnation. Once, if you come and visit this garden, you will see how the energy flow, right? From which direction flow, how do we create that flow of energy that is without stagnation. And once you have that, and then you have tai. Tai is stability. Tai is how do you make everything very stable, right? And then you have he. He is harmony. Once you have that, everything seems effortless. So we also begin to teach people how to do regenerative farming and gardening, how to nourish your soil, because that really is the key, right? If you don't have healthy soil, and you won't have healthy garden. So, but these principles is not just for garden, it's also the principles we use to nurture our clinic, which we're very honored to serve all of you, and also to grow as a person. So that is, then we'll have Zheng. We'll have, the energy flows through us, right? We'll have Zheng, and we're in the correct place, correct time, correct energy, correct channel, and it's our time to come and it will be our time to leave. So that what I will call a life with longevity, life with blessing, right? We're not lost. We lived our life mindfully throughout different stages of our lives. So that's what I am trying to help you all to create.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lu. A little inspiration for garden season. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Lu. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Dr. Lu. Inspiration as always.
Thank you, Dr. Lu. Thank you, Sarah.
Great teaching.
So helpful. Thank you.
With gratitude. Thank you, Dr. Lu. Thank you, Sarah.